I want to take you on a journey. It's Saturday morning, and you are in my kitchen. We're old friends. We're just talking. We're sharing a coffee. You know that I work in the egg industry, and through that I get to meet lots of amazing people. I get to do lots of travel. And so I want to tell you about one of the amazing stories that I've come across recently. Not long ago, I was working in this tiny little kingdom in southern Africa called Eswatini. And there I met this fantastic lady, this fantastic girl, huge smile on her face. She was loving life. 5 years old, in an adventure playground, sliding down the zip wire with her friends, just having the time of her life. But life wasn't always like that for her. This little girl was called Amanda. And rewind 5 years, and she's a one-day-old baby. And she is stuck at the bottom of a pit latrine. It's a hole in the ground. It's a toilet. She's covered in poo. And life is about to get a whole lot worse for her. Because stood above her is her mother, herself a young girl, and she's got a bucket of burning coals, and she's about to throw it on top of her daughter to try and kill her. But we know this is a story of hope. We know that that little girl got out of there because we've met her at 5 years old. And how did she get out? She got out because her uncle scooped her up out of that hole and took her to a place of hope. He took her to Project Canaan and met this fantastic couple called Ian and Janine. Ian and Janine run a whole of childhood orphanage in Eswatini. But they do it differently to everybody else. They've adopted 250 kids, and they're not taking them out of the country. They've dedicated their lives right there in Eswatini to care for, love, educate these kids. And through their previous life, they had business contacts over in the States, and they managed to take Amanda back over to the States and have multiple plastic surgeries and get that little girl's smile back, give her her future back. Now, I first met Ian and Janine when they wanted some high-quality protein to feed all of their kids. And through the egg industry, and with fantastic support from Egg Farmers Canada, we gave them an egg farm. It's built for them free of charge. But not only did they build it free of charge, Egg Farmers of Canada committed 7 years of complete funding, at least, for this project. And it's so important because not only does it feed all of the kids in that area and the surrounding villages, but they created a intervention feeding project for most of the kids in need across rural Eswatini. And it's important because so many of the kids across southern Africa get to eat this every day. Cold porridge made from maize, made with dirty water. No sugars, no flavouring. And it's the same thing every day. Can you think what nutrition is in that? But if you add just one egg, you get 6 grams of high quality protein. You get 14 vitamins and minerals. And what does that do? Well, if you're an infant, you get better brain development from high quality protein. If you're a child and at school, you can have better brain development, better concentration at school. It helps your immune system. And if you're getting a vaccination, that vaccination will work better. Many kids in southern Africa also are challenged by HIV. In Eswatini, that's about 33% of kids have HIV. But they've got access to high-quality antiretrovirals. And if you can have high-quality protein as well, then that is going to be so much more effective. We're still in my kitchen talking. And it reminds me about the first time that I went to Africa. And I worked for a series of companies, and one of them was a logging company. And we were cutting down huge trees in southern Congo and bringing them into the copper mines of northern Zambia. And one weekend, the people I was working for said to me, "Do you want to go and see the chimpanzees?" Well, I thought, yeah, sure I do. I want to go and see the chimpanzees. And I was thinking something like a safari park. I was wrong. I had a 4-hour hard journey along the river that divides the then war zones of northern Zambia and the Congo. A 4-hour journey across to where this wonderful, yet slightly eccentric, British couple had set up a chimpanzee orphanage. And when I arrived there, the first thing that really struck me as I'm talking to our hosts outside their front door is there's this enormous fiberglass model of a hippo. I'm thinking, what on earth is that doing there? And while I'm thinking about what's this model doing, one of the logging trucks with no exhaust came hurtling through the yard, and bang, it's not a model, it's a fully grown hippo cow, and it ran between us, hoofed it up the garden, and disappeared down into the kids' swimming pool. It managed to squeeze and turn around and came back and rested its huge jaws on the edge of the steps. And at this, my host went back into the house and appeared with this huge baby bottle full of milk and started to give me this bottle. And there I am now feeding Africa's most dangerous animal from a milk bottle. But I asked myself, why? Why is this fully grown hippo here? And this is the sad part. It's there because its parents, the hippo's parents, were shot by the logging company as part of their logging activities. And with this sad thought in my mind, I then went with this couple around the chimpanzee orphanage. And the chimpanzee orphanage was two things. It was both inspirational in how these couple were looking after these baby chimpanzees with the idea of returning them to the wild. But it was also harrowing. It was harrowing in the stories of why these baby chimpanzees needed to be rescued, the stories of these baby animals being trafficked around the world. And it was sometime later that I started to realize, as I thought about it, the link between the logging company that I'd been working for, the deforestation that they were causing, and all of the slaughter of these animals. And it got me thinking about, I've been here and I've been part of the problem. How is it that I can become part of the solution? It made me believe that I didn't want to work for that type of organization anymore. It changed my complete way of thinking. I realized that whole industries can be part of a problem, but even more powerfully, the whole industries can be part of a solution. But what can we do about it? What can we do about it in our work, in our lives? Through the egg industry, what we decided to do was to take United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and use them as a blueprint for our activities to inform us about the way we should behave, about the way that we should act and do business. And this might be from taking action against deforestation. It might be about taking action against forced labor, or more obviously about taking action in terms of nutrition. And nutrition in terms of high quality protein, it gives brain development in infants, raises concentration levels at school, and can also help immunity levels. And so maybe as we're thinking about this, maybe all of us can go back into our workplaces and think, can we adopt the UN Sustainable Development Goals as part of our businesses? And if we can do that, suddenly we start to get collective action. And together, we can make a real impact. Together, we can make a positive impact. And that brings me back to our breakfast table. It wasn't long ago that I was talking to a well-known environmentalist, and we were sat round my kitchen table, having a coffee, eating some eggs. And I asked him about this question that we're all challenged to try and save the planet. And he suggested to me that the planet has been through this carbon cycle about 5 times already before, and that what humankind was doing was speeding up that process. And he suggested to me that maybe it wasn't the planet that needed saving, that it was us. And if it's us that needs saving, what collectively are we going to do about it? Thank you.